last presentation we have studied about average velocity, average speed, and then instantaneous velocity, and we solved some of the problems. Now we are going to the next one. Whenever there is a change in speed of an object, if there is an increase in speed of an object or decrease in speed, then we say that that body is under acceleration. So acceleration occurs whenever there is a change in speed of an object or change in velocity of the object. You see, velocity is the vector quantity. Whenever there is a change in velocity of an object, then there is a acceleration. Change in velocity of an object can take place by two things. Either speed must change or the direction of the motion should change, or both can change. So two things, either speed, the magnitude of velocity, or now there are various types of velocity time graphs. You can see there are 6 different types of graphs for our studies. The first one is velocity time graph for an object having uniform velocity. You see, when the object doesn't change its velocity, then the graph AB is parallel to time axis. It is said to be in uniform motion. So for a uniform motion, velocity time graph is parallel to time axis. The next one you can see, there is a inclined straight line graph. So the graph is straight line and it is originating from O, that is 0, and it is increasing straight line OA, and velocity is increasing in equal amounts in equal intervals of time. So that represents an accelerating motion, and it's going to be uniformly accelerated motion. The acceleration of this second graph is constant and it is uniform. Similarly, the third one, there is a decrease in velocity, and it is again a straight line graph, decreasing straight line graph. So this represents negative acceleration. And fourth one, D. Fourth one represents again a velocity time graph, in which you will find at time t equal to 0, the object is having some initial velocity which is represented at A, and at some other time t it is having higher velocity at B. So at time t equal to 0, it is some non-zero velocity. So that is represented by the fourth graph. And fifth graph, E. You see, the velocity time graph is a curve. So velocity time graph is a curve. We are going to see that its slope is going to increase. So acceleration of the graph, acceleration of the body is not constant. It is increasing. Now the last one, F. If you see, initially there is increase in velocity, linear graph A to B, and B to C, the graph is parallel to time axis. C to D, it is a decreasing graph. So A to B, if you look at it, the slope is positive, therefore it represents positive acceleration. And B to C, there is no increase in velocity, no decrease in velocity. B to C, BC straight line is parallel to time axis. So it represents from B to C, the vehicle is moving with constant velocity. Again from C to D, it is decreasing its velocity. Uniformly it is decreasing its velocity. As a result, it will have a retardation. So whenever there is a decrease in velocity with respect to time, then it is said to be under retardation. Whenever there is increase in speed or increase in velocity with respect to time, it is said to be accelerating, positive acceleration and negative acceleration. Now these are 3 position time graphs. Previously they were velocity time graphs. Here it is position time graphs. The position time graphs for the first one and second one, you see, they are curves. Increasing curve, decreasing curve. So again, these curves represent that the motions are not uniform. They are representing non-uniform motion. So again we can say that the body is under acceleration. So in the first case there is increase in position, so it represents positive acceleration. In the second case there is a decrease in position with respect to time, so that represents negative acceleration. And the third one, you see, the position versus time graph is a straight line. As we have studied earlier, if position versus time graph is a straight line, then its slope gives you the velocity. The velocity is a constant. When the velocity is constant, there is no change in velocity with respect to time. When there is no change in velocity with respect to time, then its acceleration is 0. Therefore, if position time graph is a straight line graph, then its acceleration is 0. Carefully study all these different types of graphs. Now, again we study uniform acceleration and non-uniform acceleration. In case of uniform acceleration, if a body changes its velocity in equal amounts in equal intervals of time. Remember, when the body changes its velocity in equal amounts in equal intervals of time, then it is said to be under uniform acceleration. Body may be either increasing its velocity equally or decreasing its velocity equally in equal intervals of time, then it is said to have uniform acceleration. It means it will be having constant acceleration in a single direction. Acceleration is also a vector quantity. If the body doesn't change velocity equally, if there is a non-uniform change in velocity with respect to time, it means if it is not increasing, not decreasing equally in equivalence of time, then it is said to have non-uniform acceleration. It means its acceleration is different at different intervals of time. Acceleration is not constant. Its direction may be also not constant. So these are two types of. Now again, let us go by the calculations of average acceleration. So average acceleration, as we studied again earlier, as average velocity, now it is average acceleration, the time rate at which the velocity changes. The rate at which the velocity changes is giving us average acceleration. So average acceleration is a ratio of total velocity, total change in velocity divided by total time taken for that change. Average acceleration or acceleration is measured in meter per second square. Meter per second square is the SI unit of acceleration. So in this equation, A average equal to delta V by delta T. Delta V refers to change in velocity. Change in velocity is calculated as difference in velocities, Vf minus Vi. Final velocity minus initial velocity gives us change in velocity. And delta T refers to change in time, Tf minus Ti. So average velocity is calculated as Tf minus Ti. That is, average velocity is calculated as Vf minus Vi, and average acceleration is therefore delta V by delta T. Now again, instantaneous acceleration. As we defined earlier, instantaneous velocity, here it is instantaneous acceleration. Acceleration of an object at that instant of time is called instantaneous acceleration. We should go by the term, meaning of the term instantaneous. Instantaneous means at that particular instant of time. What is its acceleration? So that gives us instantaneous acceleration. It may be again defined as limiting value of average acceleration over an interval of time which approaches to 0. So again I can define once again, instantaneous acceleration is defined as limiting value of average acceleration as time interval tends to 0, which is given by A instantaneous equal to limiting value of average acceleration delta V by delta t as time interval t tends to 0. Look here, delta V by delta t gives us average acceleration. So limiting value of average acceleration as time delta t tends to 0 gives us dV by dt, derivative of velocity with respect to time t. Earlier we studied instantaneous velocity as derivative of position with respect to time t, dx by dt. V is equal to dx by dt, A is equal to dV by dt. So if you substitute the value of V in the dV by dt equation, you will get d by dt of dx by dt, which gives us d square x by dt square. D square x by dt square is called as second derivative of position. So if we do first derivative of position with respect to time, we get velocity. If we do second derivative of position with respect to time, d square by dt square of x gives us instantaneous acceleration. So instantaneous acceleration is also defined as time rate of change of velocity. Time rate of change of velocity, dV by dt. Now let us solve one simple problem. Displacement of a particle is given by x equal to 3t square plus 7t minus 9. X is a function of time t in this equation, where x is measured in meters, t is measured in seconds. What is its acceleration? So answer. So first write the given equation of the position, x equal to 3t square plus 7t minus 9. So carrying out the differentiation, differentiating with respect to time t, we get velocity dx by dt, v equal to dx by dt, that is 3t square. Differentiating 3t square, we get 6t. As we followed earlier the standard equation, if x is equal to t raised to n, if you differentiate x equal to t raised to n with respect to time t, then we get dx by dt equal to n into t raised to n minus 1. Remember that, n into t raised to n minus 1. So if n is equal to 2 here, then differentiation of t square gives you 2 into t raised to 2 minus 1. So that is definitely giving you 2t. Therefore differentiation of t square is 2t and it is multiplied with the coefficient 3. So 3 into 2, it becomes 6t plus 7t, differentiation of 7t. If you carry out differentiation of 7t with respect to time t, 7 multiplied by dt by dt, and differentiation of time with respect to t gives us 1. dt by dt gives us 1. Therefore v equal to 6t plus 7. So this is velocity. Differentiating with respect to time t again, second time differentiation gives us acceleration, as we noted earlier. Acceleration a is equal to dv by dt, that is 6 meter per second square. That is, if you do differentiation of 6t with respect to time t, then we get the result 6 meter per second square. Now on the same way you can try this calculation. Position of a particle is given by the relation x equal to t cube minus 6t square minus 15t plus 40. Find the velocity, acceleration, time at which velocity is 0, position at that time, and acceleration at that time. So first, as I said, if you differentiate given equation x equal to t cube minus 6t square minus 15t plus 40, if you differentiate it with respect to time t, you will get velocity. I can say directly 3t square minus 12t minus 15, that becomes velocity. So again differentiating once again, if you differentiate, you will get acceleration. And at what time velocity is 0? So if you put equation for velocity equal to 0, then you will get a quadratic equation. Using that quadratic equation, you will be able to get the time t. Once you get the time t, I will give you a clue. Time t is equal to 5 seconds. Remember, time t is equal to 5 seconds, at which velocity is going to be 0. Once you get this time t equal to 5 seconds, then what is the position at that time t equal to 5 seconds? You can just substitute time t equal to 5 seconds in the above equation, you will get the position. Then acceleration at that time t. You already got in the second calculation what is the acceleration. If you substitute the value of time t equal to 5 seconds in that acceleration, in that equation of acceleration, you will get the value of acceleration at that time t. So again, if you find any difficulty, you can ring up to my phone number 944 97 236 86. Once again, 944 97 236 86. If you find difficulty, you can ring up and get the result. It's also my WhatsApp number. Now the next concept is area under velocity time graph. Let us consider an object moving with constant velocity. So for an object moving with constant velocity, the graph is going to be a straight line. Look at the graph. The graph is going to be a straight line parallel to time axis. So velocity, let us say velocity of that moving object is 40 meter per second. Suppose I want to calculate what is the displacement of that vehicle moving along a straight line. What is the displacement after 60 seconds? Then we know if it is a constant velocity, then displacement is equal to velocity multiplied by time. From the graph, if you look at it, velocity multiplied by time definitely gives you area of the rectangle. Area of the rectangle is nothing but area under the straight line graph. So if you calculate the area under the straight line graph of the velocity time graph, if you calculate the area under velocity time graph, it gives us displacement. That is the conclusion from this simple example. So conclusion is that whenever we have a velocity time graph, if we calculate area covered by the velocity time graph, then that gives us displacement in that time interval. So this is a very important concept. Based on this, we are going to derive three equations of motion. They are called as kinematic equations of accelerated motion. Kinematic equations of uniformly accelerated motion. So we have already derived these equations in the 9th standard. Again, we are going to derive the same thing in this 11th standard also. So procedure is also same, concepts are also same. Only thing that you need to remember is that these three equations are derived graphically for an uniformly accelerated motion. Remember, for an uniformly accelerated motion only, you will get the graph to be straight line. Look at the graph. The graph is straight line. Let u be the initial velocity. Look at the graph. U is at point A. Let v be the final velocity. V is at B, or which is also equivalent to E. Then acceleration, we know it is defined as change in velocity divided by change in time taken. Time taken for that change in velocity. So from the graph, if you draw the time interval OA and CB as perpendiculars corresponding, so some time interval OC, if you draw the perpendiculars, then we get a right angle triangle ABD. From the right angle triangle ABD, if you calculate BD by AD, BD by AD is also called as tan theta, where theta is the angle at A. If you look at the right angle triangle, if theta is the angle at A, then tan theta is equal to opposite BD by the base AD. Then A is equal to BD by the slope. So BD is also equivalent to AE. AE is V minus U. Look at the graph. AE is difference in velocities, V minus U. And OC is the base, which is the time taken. Therefore, acceleration A is equal to V minus U by T. And thus, we get the first equation, V is equal to U plus AT, provided A is constant, V is final velocity, U is the initial velocity, T is the time taken for that motion. So this V equal to U plus AT gives us first equation, which gives us final velocity when initial velocity and time interval and accelerations are given. Now second equation of motion. Again we refer the same graph. Now for the second equation we are going to calculate the displacement that is taken place in time t. If you look at the graph, you see in the graph the initial velocity is u and final velocity is v. So if we calculate the area under the graph gives us the displacement. So using that concept of area under the graph, if we calculate the area of that trapezium, if you look at the graph is having the trapezium shape OABD. The OABD is a trapezium. If you calculate the area of trapezium, you will be definitely going to get the displacement. The area of trapezium is again having two parts, the area of triangle plus area of rectangle. Area of triangle plus area of rectangle, if you calculate, you are going to get S equal to ut plus half at square. So S equal to ut plus half at square is second equation of motion. So second equation of motion, remember, is equation for the displacement or distance covered in time interval t when it is having a uniform acceleration a started with the initial velocity u. So this is second equation. Using the same graph, we have the third equation. You see, area under the trapezium OABC, area under the trapezium OABC, we know it gives the distance traveled. Therefore, if you calculate the area of trapezium, half into perpendicular height, perpendicular distance OC, into sum of the parallel sides OA plus CB. That if you substitute the actual values, we get S equal to half into T into U plus V. So U plus V gives us 2S by T. Now using the first equation of motion, we know that V minus U is equal to AT. Therefore T is equal to V minus U by A. T is equal to V minus U by A. So if you substitute the value of T, then we get V minus U by A. So if you take that V minus U to the left hand side, it becomes V minus U into V plus U. V minus U into V plus U gives us V square minus U square. So V square minus U square is equal to 2AS. So this becomes the third equation of motion. These are the three equations for uniformly accelerated motion. These are also called as kinematic equations for uniformly accelerated motion. So in the next presentation, we will solve the problems based on these three equations. And before that, if you have difficulty, please ask me and give me feedback. Thank you.